A couple of updates for you. First thing is, I wanted to tell you why it is that I don't have the traffic visualizations on my computer screen, even though I got the software update. And it actually is fairly simple. It's the fact that I have an older model of the hardware, the actual chip, the computer that runs and controls the car, and all the visualizations, and does the AI and the neural net and all of the things that would do the autopilot. I have a previous edition, a previous revision of that hardware chip. They started off releasing, when I bought the car, they had recently released chip 3.0. It was hardware 3.0. I think they started that in April or May, and I bought mine middle of June. So they were still using up some of their stock of the 2.5 chips. They hadn't actually put the 3.0 chip in here. Now, I didn't know that at the time. I just found that out. But the 2.5 chip can't handle those visualizations. So I'm a little disappointed that the problem is actually that I got an older version of the chip, even though I bought my car well after the chip had been put out into production. So that's a little disappointing. Now, I do understand that Tesla is retrofitting cars with the new chip. They actually just pull the chip out, put a new one in. It's a computer board, and they actually just replace it. But they're not voluntarily doing that at this point. It's only under certain conditions and certain circumstances if you go in for service and this and that and the other. And some people get it randomly done when that happens. But I don't have any service scheduled, so I don't expect it to happen. But in the near future, they may update my car with it. They may actually allow me to come in for service and do it voluntarily. So we'll see if they do. But in the meantime, I'll have to live without the visualizations. As I said, a little disappointing because I bought my car at a time when I would have had the chip 3.0 and they just didn't put it in there. I'm assuming because I bought the lowest end car, they were just using up the chips they had and put it in there. And I get it, but I'm still disappointed by it. The second thing I wanted to talk about, I was driving my wife's Toyota Camry, and it doesn't have any backup camera or any other safety features in it. It's a little bit of an older model. And I was backing it up, and I actually saw a pole that was behind me, but I was moving my foot from the accelerator to the brake as I was moving backward, and I didn't move quick enough, and the car sort of lurched a little bit, and I actually hit the pole. And it's funny because I had that moment where I thought, why did I do that? And part of it had to do with the fact that I have the one pedal driving in this car, and part of it had to do with the fact that I have the active safety features and the other features that allow me to visualize what's happening behind me, like the backup camera. Wow, I've already become dependent on those over the course of 6 months. So I need to be a little more careful. I didn't do any major damage or anything, nothing like that, but it was just that moment when I had that hesitation where I went, wow, how did that happen? And I know why, and I'm like, wow, I need to be a little bit more conscientious when I'm driving any other car besides this one. You know, you get kind of used to it after a while, and you do rely on some of the features that are in there. And I'm a little surprised that I relied on them as much as I did, but actually I just wanted to share that with you. And the third thing is I wanted to talk about some of the new other features that I got besides the safety feature. I wanted to talk about the other features that they've added to the car. So let's have a look. Features that you get, they're actually contained here in either the entertainment or the toy box. So let's have a look at the toy box first and see what's going on here. There's the tracks that allows you to create music in the car. So it's going to load that up. And we'll play around with that for a minute. And yes, my screen is very dirty. I need to clean it. Hard to see when I'm looking at it without the lens. I don't see as much muck on there as I see when I look through it. So the way this works is you're supposed to be able to do some recording here, right? And then you do some things. So you create your own music, basically, right? And then I can go ahead and save that if I want to, and I can come back and play it later. So I can just play around with that a little bit. And this, see, and this is the music I just created. Kind of silly, but actually kind of clever. If you've got a little creative streak and you're sitting in the car and you want to play around with it a little bit, you certainly can. So I actually find that kind of neat. It's kind of a fun little thing that they've done. Then also there is the in the entertainment, there's now Twitch available to you. So you can actually go to Twitch and actually set it up so that you can watch videos through Twitch. So that's kind of a nice feature. Another little thing they've added. I don't actually have a Twitch account at this point, so it doesn't matter to me. New games in here. There's Stardew Valley is one of the games that they've added. So you can actually play the game now. There you go. Sure. just want to play, I don't care. Oh, okay. Am I just being impatient? Okay, I couldn't actually get Stardew Valley to start. There was something going on. It actually crashed my screen at one point and I had to reset it. I was sitting here playing with it for a couple of minutes and I could never get it to actually start. There's probably something else I need to do. And the other thing was this in the camp mode here. Camp mode, what it does is it leaves the electrical panel on in the car. So when you're here in the car, you can actually use the electrical panel while you're camping. So you can actually use all of the electronics. So you can plug into like the outlet that's here, right? There's an outlet right in there. So you can plug into that guy if you want to. You can actually use these guys. You can leave the lights on in the car. You can do all of those things without having the car powered on. So that's kind of a nice little feature that they've added. So you can actually use all of that, and it turns the AC off and powers down most of the car, so you don't have to worry about it the same way. Kind of clever. I actually think that's kind of neat. Here's kind of a cool, mostly undocumented feature. I haven't seen this very many places, and it has to do with the way your phone interacts with your car. Let's say I go to Google Maps or Yelp or anywhere else, and I do something in there where maybe I'm looking something up. I want to find the nearest Trader Joe's. So I look it up, and I find the nearest one. It comes up on the map on my phone, and then I want to send it to my Tesla. So what I actually do is I click it, so I have it up in front of me. I click the share icon, and then I select to send it to my Tesla. And that will actually send the information over to the car, and the car will route me there. It's kind of a really cool feature, so I can do things in my phone first. All right, so one cool feature that they added is this ability to sync messages. So you have to actually go to the devices. I had to figure this out. It took a little bit of effort to kind of figure it out, but you have to go to the devices and you have to sync the messages. So now, as the screen told me on the Tesla, I have to go into my settings on Bluetooth, select the Tesla and actually click the I, and then I have to change the show notifications to turn it on. If it's not on, I have to turn it on, so that way it will communicate with the car. So I click on, and then I can go back to my Tesla and complete the setup. What it should do is disconnect me and reconnect me, so that it'll allow for messages to go directly to the phone. Let's make that happen, so it'll reset it. You have to make sure the show notifications is on, this one here, that it's on. As long as that's on, this will work. If it's not on, it won't work. So that's the really tricky part. All right, so now we can get and receive messages. And as you can see, it comes up and says it's from Darth Vader. If I tap it,
Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father.
And I can tap to reply. I'll never join you. And then I tap to send. And it showed up on Darth Vader's phone. And he'll text back. And got another message from him.
Darth Vader says, together we can rule the universe.
No! And then I can send it. And that's pretty cool. And meanwhile, my phone is doing the thing that my phone always does. It did come up on the screen there, just as it always would. So it's there, and I can see it. I should be able to come here if I want to. So I didn't get a chance to listen to that message, but I should be able to tap it and go, read message from Darth Vader. Nope, that didn't work. Read text from Darth Vader. Of course, I can always go back to, hey Siri, read last message.
Darth Vader said, Luke, I am your father. Want to reply?
No.
Okay, that's everything.
So I still have the luxury of doing that if I want to. That's pretty cool. Works for me. This feature actually works for me. Cool.